guys, it's Harry the Red Bagnall Engine here, and welcome to the first video on our new channel. And today we are going to be doing a review on one of the best sitcoms of all time, and the sitcom we are doing a review on is Mrs. Brown's Boys. Yep, that is what we are going to be reviewing for today's video. Now, just before I get into this video, I would just like to say to any of you who don't like this show, I will respect your opinion, but as long as you respect mine in return. But enough said, let's get right into it, shall we? Well, Mrs. Brown's Boys. Wow, what a gem of a show this is. Like, seriously guys, you cannot fault how funny this show is. This show is without a doubt one of the funniest shows, or sitcoms as that's what it's really called, that the BBC has ever done. There's just so much to like about it in terms of characters, which, fun fact guys about Mrs. Brown's Boys, all the actors you see in the show, most of them are actually related to each other. I know I was very surprised when I found that out, but getting back on track, this show is just without a doubt one of the funniest that the BBC have ever done. Now, I was hoping to have done a review on the Mrs. Brown's Boys movie, but there's a reason to why, because, well, I've never really seen the movie, so I can't say if it's good or bad. But from what I've seen in reviews, it did pretty well, so I guess I'll check it out. But yeah, I've never seen the movie, so I can't do a review on it, but I will watch the movie, and I promise I'll have a review coming out on that after I've watched it. Now, like every show or movie that I've seen, I do have one or two nitpicks with it, and my biggest nitpick or problem with Mrs. Brown's Boys is the spin-off series All Round to Mrs. Brown's. I know, shocker, right? But the reason I'm not a fan of All Round to Mrs. Brown's is, well, I kind of find it a bit boring and unwatchable. And the reason I say that, guys, is because in All Round to Mrs. Brown's, they talk to famous celebrities, which there's nothing wrong with that, far from it. But the problem is they spend too long talking to the celebrities and not really focusing on anything else. But I guess that is the whole point of All Round to Mrs. Brown's. And my other problem with All Round to Mrs. Brown's is the humour. The humour isn't really that funny either. In fact, from time to time, I think the humour in All Round to Mrs. Brown's can be just a little bit insulting. But that is my opinion, and if you guys like All Round to Mrs. Brown's, that's fine. I respect your opinion. Just make sure to respect mine in return. But other than those two tiny nitpicks, I really enjoy Mrs. Brown's Boys. It's a good it really stands out for what it is. If only other sitcoms were as funny as Mrs. Brown's Boys. Right guys, that brings us to the end of another review video. Now, just before I sign off, I do have one or two things to say. The first thing I would like to say is sorry if this review video was a little short. It's just ever since my old account got terminated, I really haven't felt like doing review videos. And also, please excuse any bad editing in this as well, because sometimes I find review videos the hardest videos to make, but that's just me. But anyway guys, this is Harry the Red Bagnall Engine signing off. Peace out everyone. Peace out.